afternoon. Oh my god, I can see all of you were waiting so enthusiastically for me. Why? Okay, so you all were waiting eagerly to listen the second part of Lord Ganesha's story, huh? Right, so my dear kids, are you all following the morals which I tried to convey via these stories? Very good. So, worship Lord Ganesha every day and try to learn all the morals. Okay, now can we proceed further? Let's start. This is the second part, which is the story of Lord Kuber's downfall. Lord Kuber was a renowned god who was very popular for being the wealthiest of them all in the entire universe. He had a treasure trove of wealth and vowed every time of himself with pride. He would just hoard off his wealth every time. Okay, so one day he invited many guests over for dinner, including Lord Shiv and Goddess Parvati. But they both could not attend the dinner, so they set over Lord Ganesh as their representative. Lord Ganesha noticed how Lord Kube's behavior was, and he decided to let his antics loose. He began devouring the dinner speedily and ended up finishing all the food, leaving barely anything for the other guest. Yet his hunger was not satisfied. So he ended up entering Lord Kube's wealth collection and started eating all the gold and wealthy items. Still unsatisfied, Lord Ganesha then proceeded to eat Lord Kuber himself, who ran to Mount Kailash for protection. Now, what happened? Lord Shiva, seeing the reason behind Lord Ganesha's doing, offered a simple bowl of cereals to Lord Ganesha. He ate them and immediately was satisfied. So Lord Kuber learned not to amass wealth greedily and agreed to distribute amongst everyone. So, my dear kids, the story shows how greed and pride can be harmful to a person, and it is necessary to be considerate towards everyone. Here lies the moral of the story. Right, my dear kids? Now, let's go to the next part, the story of Kaveri's creation. It begins with the wish of a sage called Agastya, who wished to create a river that would benefit the people staying in the southern lands. The god heeded his wish and presented him with a small bowl containing water. Wherever he would pour the bowl, the river would originate from there. So Agastya decided to create the origin beyond the mountains of Kurg and proceeded to travel there. On the journey, he got tired and began looking for a place to take some rest. Just then, he came across a small boy who was standing alone. He requested him to hold the pot of water while he went and relieved himself. The boy was Lord Ganesh himself. He knew what the pot of water was for and realized that the location he was at was perfect for the river. So he set the pot down. When Agastya came back, he saw the pot on the ground and a crow attempting to drink water from it. He shooed away the crow, who fled away, but not before tipping the pot on the ground. This resulted in the river originating from that place itself, which is now called the Kaveri River. So, what is the moral? The moral of the story: sometimes things may not always work out in the way we wish them to. Nevertheless, what happens does happen for a good reason. So there is a reason for everything that is happening with us or happening in the world, and trust me kids, it's happening for our own good. So be happy always in your life. Okay, now let's go to the next part. The stories of Lord Ganesh single task. There are many versions that explain, but this Bal Ganesha story does it best. As legend has it, Mahabharata is Ved Vyas creation, but it is said to be written by Lord Ganesha himself. Ved Vyas approached Lord Ganesha so that he could transcribe the epic story as he narrated it to him. The condition was that Ved Vyas had to narrate it without breaking, and Lord Ganesha would write it in a single go. As they progressed in writing the story, there came a point where the quill that Lord Ganesh was using to write it down broke, and he had no other quills with him at that moment. So Vedvyas could not stop narrating the story since the condition was already set in stone for him. Without wasting any time, Lord Ganesh quickly broke off one of his own tusks and fashioned it into a pen, using it to continue writing the epic without interruption. This allowed the epic to become a holy one, and Lord Ganesh and Ved Vyasji ended up completing it together. So, what is the moral, kids? The story of Lord Ganesh shows very clearly how necessary it is to be disciplined and determined to complete a task. Once you have accepted to complete it, no matter what happens, a personal sacrifice might be necessary to complete something epic. So be disciplined, be determined towards your goal, and try to accomplish it. Work hard for it. Okay. Now we move to the next part, which is the story of the lunar curse. This story follows right after the proceedings of Lord Kube's dinner. After eating to his will, Lord Ganesh's stomach had become terribly large and he got a pot belly. Walking around with it became difficult for him as he moved. He ended up losing his balance and stumbled and fell down. The moon, who was watching all of this, began laughing at Lord Ganesha's predicament. Seeing the moon humiliate him, Lord Ganesh cursed the moon, making it completely invisible. The moon, realizing its mistake, began pleading to Lord Ganesh for forgiveness. Relenting to his incessant apology, Lord Ganesha then decided to set in a cycle where the moon appeared and disappeared every 15 days. Another story wherein the moon was cursed by Lord Ganesh also involves a snake. One day, Goddess Parvati made Lord Ganesha's favorite food, modak. So Lord Ganesh stuffed himself with as many modak as he could. Later that night, he went out on his vehicle. The mouse would hardly take Lord Ganesha's weight with all the modak he has eaten. Suddenly, upon encountering a snake, the mouse stumbled and Lord Ganesh got thrown over. As soon as he hit the ground, his stomach burst and all the modak fell out. He quickly grabbed all the food and stuffed it back into his stomach, and to hold it, he held the snake and tied it around his waist. This story also explains why some idols of Lord Ganesh have a snake around the stomach. Upon seeing this, the moon couldn't help but laugh his heart out. So Lord Ganesha got extremely angry and cursed him, saying, Nobody will see the moon on the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi, or else they will be accused of doing something wrong. So, where is the moral? Huh? The moral lies. We should never laugh at somebody else's problems or deformities. This is impolite and is not a sign of good behavior. So, never, kids, never make fun of anyone, never laugh at anybody's problem. Okay, it is not a good behavior, it's not a good manners. Okay, okay, now let's move to the next part, the story of the sweet Kira. I can make it out since I am mentioning names of so many tasty food. All of you are feeling hungry. Moda Kira. Okay, let's start the story of the sweet Kheer. Lord Ganesh once entered a village in the form of a boy holding some rice in one hand and milk in the other. He began asking for help to make some kheer, but everybody was busy. He reached a poor woman's hut who agreed to make the kheer for him. As she mixed it together and set the pot to cook, she fell asleep and the boy went out to play. On waking up, she realized the kheer had cooked and was extremely delicious. She was too hungry and couldn't resist it. But before eating the kheer, she took out some of it in a bowl and offered to Lord Ganesha's idol and then began eating the kheer. No matter how much she ate, the pot never emptied. When the boy returned, the woman gave him the entire pot and confessed that she ate before him because she was hungry. The boy replied, saying he ate it too when she offered the bowl to Lord Ganesha's idol. The woman began crying at his feet, and Lord Ganesh blessed her with wealth and health. So, my dear kids, the moral of the story is before taking care of your own needs, make sure to worship God and keep something aside for others as well. Try to share your things with people and worship God. Always thank God that He has given you so many things. Okay, so my dear kids, I hope you all enjoy the stories of Lord Ganesh. So, every day pray to Him, pray to Lord Ganesh that He has given you all so many necessary things in life, studies, parents, so many things, huh? So always be thankful to Lord and try to learn the moral values, okay? And help everyone, respect your elders, take blessings from them, and definitely always pray to God. So till then, this is your trainer Payal here signing off. Thank you so much.